So, what are some bad things about working at the Cheesecake Factory as a line cook? And see, I don't always say praises about the company. So I talk a lot about my time there at the Cheesecake Factory as my time as a chef over 6 years, and there are plenty of good things to say about that, from the training to the pay to the structure that they work their kitchen from top to bottom, from management to prep cook. However, there are some bad things. And the first one I'd say is honestly just how much they can overwork you. There are some pros to that, though. They do pay very well depending on what position you start at. Most line cooks start anywhere from like 18 to 21 an hour, depending on the state. And you do get raises every station you learn. So every station you learn is usually a quarter. The downside of that, though, is the more you know, the more you're going to have to cover. The restaurant schedules anywhere from 20 to 30 cooks depending on the day, AM and PM. So if there's a grill cook that calls out and you know grill, you're probably going to be asked to stay. Yes, you don't have to say yes, but they will schedule you a full 40 to 45 hours. And then inevitably people are going to call out, people are going to get sick. It happens, and you will be kind of pressured to stay for the entire 14-hour day. I worked Christmas a few years back. I'm posting my time card up there of how many hours I worked. And that was an 80-hour work week that I worked at Cheesecake Factory from all the stations I knew. Kind of rough. And the second thing is just general burnout. Not necessarily even with hours, but depending on the management at each location, if you're stuck on the saute station and you don't learn anything for years because they don't want to move you or you're not interested, then pay can start to get low and you might get very repetitive doing the same thing over and over each and every day. I do encourage cooks to learn more and grow with the company because they do treat you well as long as you're willing to pursue your own opportunity. However, there are some managers who don't want to give you that push, and it has to come from you. Also, I'm just now realizing that my kitchen's very dirty, so apologies. Also, look at this pork bill I made for dinner. If you want this recipe, it's on my Patreon for less than $2 a month. And the third thing, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but for some people it is. So on the line, there are 6 different stations and about 2 to 3 people per station. So if you're used to a mom and pop shop where there's a few cooks, you're going to be working on a team. And if your team hinders you, is rude, whatever, there could be drama, because there's never a time where you're working by yourself. And again, some people thrive in that, but if you're an introvert or if you have an abrasive personality, you're not going to really mesh with people that way. All that being said, though, about Cheesecake, managers do kind of vary depending on location, just like any company will. I've worked with amazing managers and I've worked with some less savory ones, for example. For the most part, company is very highly recommended, but there are some flaws to it. So if you have any other questions about Cheesecake Factory or where I've worked, drop a comment below.